moving on as to our game previews. And look, we're just going to get this first one out of the way. Of course, we always do cover the AFC West and the NFC East and then fill in the blanks from there. But Raider Jim, the consummate professional that he is here after a tough week. But we are going to start in Houston with his Las Vegas Raiders. They are heading to Houston. They are going to be 14.5-point favorites. 38 is your over-under. Plus 650 for the Raiders on the money line. Minus 1,100 for the Raiders. Raider Jim, the floor is yours.
Okay, let me start with this. First of all, congratulations to the Eagles. I mean, that was a total game. I don't care if it was against the Raiders. It was a total game, and the defense did what a defense should do. I always used to tell my kids when I coached, you don't want to lose, don't give up points.
Yep.
Real simple. But the Eagles just dismantled them. The Raiders once again showed their true colors. And I really, the Raider Nation is one thing, but I look at some of these guys out there and I'm screaming, you don't deserve to wear silver and black. You just don't. What's going to happen this week, though? My good, I didn't even get to watch any of the game or follow it because I had some family stuff going on. And then later on, I was asked, well, how did the game turn out? And I said, I know they lost. I just don't know by how much. So I'll just check that in a little while. And sure enough, there it was, the rude awakening. But what's going to happen this week? They're going up against the number one defense. And you've got the Las Vegas Raiders who are only putting up 14 points a game. And Houston, by virtue of their win-loss record, they've got to win. They can't just sit back and take their foot off the gas. So to cover that 14.5, most of the time I would say, I'm not touching that. Give me a point, make it 13.5. But I think Houston will definitely cover this one. And over under 38, it's going to go over because Houston's probably even going to have their offense come out firing on all cylinders against, they're technically the number 16 defense or something. No, Houston's going to dismantle them too. Now, not to pile on my good friend here, captain of the ship, as I like to call him, leader of the band and all those other monikers, you had to just start off the podcast by admitting Kansas City's dead. And I don't want to pile on because I like you so much. Ashton Jeanty, I got to say it. 700 yards, 3 games left. He's averaging 50 yards a game. He needs 300 yards, has to average 100 to make 1,000. Are you going to give in on that one yet?
I mean, no, I'm not even close because, again, I get it. He's the first round pick, and whether or not that was smart to use it on a running back, that's a separate question. And that's perfectly valid. But this individual player, it's 14 games into his season behind what could be, because this was the first game that I've watched fully of the Raiders. There may have been a half of the Charger Raider game, and it was like, oh, that's not good. But this was the first time I got an opportunity to see them. And it's kind of like sometimes when someone tells you how bad their situation is, and you just go, oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. Like, I'm here for you if you need me, blah, blah, blah. And then for whatever reason, you get put into their situation and you have to take a step back and go, oh my gosh, I did not give the respect that was needed on this, because Raider Jim all year has been saying how bad they are. And I've just been kind of like, look, the Jets are worse. The Titans are worse. Pre-Burrow, the Bengals are worse. The Las Vegas Raiders might be the worst football team I've seen in quite some time. And the performance on Sunday, and I'm not doing this to pile back on Raider Jim, but this is all kind of coming back for defense of my boy. But the effort, the one stat, I'm only going to throw one stat out there because, again, not here to pile on. The backup offense had one drive for the Eagles. They got 78 yards. The Las Vegas Raiders for the entire game got 75. So when you are looking at who to blame, you can definitely look at Jeanty and say you should have been better, but he's like the 15th person that you have had the conversation with. I think the defense, is just they're under so much pressure. They're not great, but they're average. They're the strength of this team. But when you're just in these situations where you can't give up more than 14 points, it's demoralizing. I don't want you to you've already given up on Ashton Jeanty, and that's okay, because there's going to be a podcast where I start with a big Cheshire grin, where it's 3 weeks in a row and Ashton Jeanty's doing his thing. And it's okay. I'll sit here, and again, I recalled the Kool-Aid. No one's going to die on the Kool-Aid, but you shouldn't drink it at the moment. We're going to refine the recipe, hopefully. But the one thing I will say, and I will get to my thoughts on this game, but the one thing I will say for the Raiders in general is I don't care what pick they get, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. They need to trade it. They need to trade down and maybe trade down again, because they have a lot of holes. And whether it's quarterback, because a part of me thought, hey, maybe it's Tyrod or it's Geno Smith struggling. Well, Kenny Pickett got that opportunity, and oh my goodness. So I think it's a lot of things. And until you get an offensive line in front of Jeanty, I hate to say it, and again, we might have said the same thing about Josh Jacobs, and look at what Josh Jacobs is doing. So I don't want to fully pile on, but Ashton Jeanty, he is not the B word. And if he's still struggling next year and the offense has made strides, then I will say something's going on. But you can't grade him playing on this offense just because it is not good. Now, excuse me, in terms of this game, 14 points, 14 and a half points, that is a lot. I got the Raiders plus 11 and a half against the Eagles, and that was never even a question, unfortunately. And this is another one that I normally wouldn't go this high, but I'm going to buy half a point and give me Houston. I'll take a push if I need to, but I cannot in good faith put money on the Raiders, especially considering as good as the Eagles defense is, this defense is better. And maybe the elements played a bit of a factor. It was just cold more than anything. I'm going to take the under here though, because I got kind of, I don't want to say, excuse me, I'll say it. I got kind of screwed. I took the over, I think 37 and a half. And, I'm watching the Eagles put up points and you're like, okay. And then eventually you're like, okay, hold on guys. Like, let's let them score here. Let's get it over. But it didn't happen. So I'm going to take the under. I could very well. In Houston, I don't think their offense is capable of putting up 39 points on their own, or I guess 38, or however you want to look at it. So, 21, 24, 6, 24, maybe the Raiders get 10 points. But again, I don't see the Raiders getting into double digits, and I don't think Houston's going to light up the scoreboard themselves. So give me the under, but I am going to buy half a point. Give me Houston minus 14. That might be the first time I've ever taken that big of a spread in the history of this podcast. But
and looking at the Houston defense, they're fourth against the rush, giving up 92 yards a game. Ashton might as well just stay in Las Vegas.
Well, and one other part too, when you do get behind, they're not going to run. And unfortunately,
right. Fair.
And the yards per carry, that's kind of where you can see it. And it should never be below 3.8. It probably shouldn't be below 4, but we're kind of changing things up these days. I just patience. Patience. I get it. And again, if the conversation switches, the Raiders shouldn't have taken a running back, then that's fine. That's a conversation that I will let y'all have. But when it comes to the individual of Ashton Jeanty, I really do believe he's going to be something very good in this league. But we'll see, because Raider Jim will be the first to remind me. And trust me, I'm over here kind of like maybe pulling a little too hard for Ashton Jeanty, because the first time it pops off, I'm just going to be like, all right, Raider Jim, we are recording immediately. But anyways,